All right, we are live for our second or third. I can't actually remember how many times I've gone live this week. It's all a blur. To celebrate the Triathlon Nutrition Academy Open Week, I'm going to be joined by Erin, who is one of our Academy athletes. And honestly, she's just on fire at the moment. So I really want her to share her story with you because she is just killing it. Every race she turns up to, she ends up on the podium. And sometimes when there's not even a podium for her, she creates one for herself.
Well, my friends do. I got good friends.
Here she is. So we are going live on Facebook and we're also going live on Instagram for the first time ever. We are tech savvy triathletes here in the Academy program. So good. Denise's live didn't quite work yesterday, but I'm glad that we've got this one going. We've got one platform in one ear, one platform in the other ear. A little bit of an echo, but we can make it work.
Good.
So welcome, Erin.
Hello.
So can you tell the people, the good watchers that are joining us for our live? Sally's here, Claire's here on Insta, Gradation Road Escapes is here. Hello, I haven't seen you in for ages. Like, where are you in the world? You've got a different accent to me, obviously. And how long have you been doing triathlon for?
So I am in North Carolina. I am fortunate enough to live on the coast, so I can see the ocean from my kitchen.
Hate you.
Yeah. Well, I moved from Michigan only 3 years ago now, so I had lots of snow. We turned it in for the sand. And I've been doing triathlon for 11 years.
There you go. And you've never worked on your nutrition before joining the Academy program, have you?
No, not really worked on it as a whole picture. Like, I've definitely thought about it. I've written up race plans, but definitely not the big whole picture that I am getting all the puzzle pieces for now.
Yeah, which is crazy. It blows my mind that it takes people that long to work on their nutrition. Like, it's no like negativity towards you whatsoever. It's just that is how the sport rolls. Like, we do everything else first, and I'm really passionate about trying to teach triathletes to work on their nutrition earlier rather than later, because you're a great testament to how good you can feel when you actually do the work, get it right, and feel how it feels to have nutrition intersected with training.
Yeah, for sure. I think up to this point, I've definitely kept it very separate, like my everyday nutrition and race nutrition. There wasn't necessarily a big thought about the holistic whole piece of it until you taught us how to do that.
Yeah, which is crazy. And so as a result, every race that you've done lately, honestly, I'm like, all right, let's see how Erin's gone this weekend. It's like, oh, she's on the podium again. And it's not always about getting on the podium or winning and things like that. Often it's just about getting to the finish line. But I don't know, like lately, everything you touch turns to gold. Honestly, we did a podcast episode together because I was just like, we've got to get her on here. She's like doing amazing things. And I think I said everything you touch turns to gold, because honestly, every time you turn up to something, you are just absolutely smashing it. So what do you attest to those performance gains that you've had this season so far?
Yeah, part of it is that I race a lot, and I have always, like, it's my favorite part of triathlon. Well, people are my favorite part, but race day is an important part of triathlon for me. And so now that I've got the recovery portion pretty nailed, like, I feel like my recovery is down to a T, whether it's race day or training recovery. I'm able to do all these races, and I'm showing up to each one of them as if I hadn't raced the weekend before, or even I've had 2 weekends already this year that I raced both a Saturday and a Sunday, and I'm doing that 2 more times in the next couple months. So just knowing that I can recover from the race or the hard training that I'm still doing throughout all of these races, I'm able to show up on race day and have a great performance.
And what are you doing differently that you weren't doing before in that sense?
Oh gosh, as far as recovery, I was doing nothing. I was doing whatever potato chips and soda pop that they had at the finish line, period.
Done.
As far as training recovery, I would actually intentionally not eat because I was like, going to have the afterburn of calories for as long as possible because, I'm always working on my body composition a little bit. And you hear that when you lift or when you work out that you're going to burn more calories later. So I don't put any calories in so that my body composition will change. Well, that didn't help when I was laying on the couch that afternoon with a pint of ice, like garbage.
Yep. Yeah, you only have that afterburn if you give the body the building blocks that it needs in that recovery window. So it's a really common misconception that not eating after exercise is going to actually help you reach your body fat goals. It's kind of the complete opposite to that, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure it is. Because while I've been having recovery meals now after all of my training and all of my races, so certainly I assume putting more calories in, not that I'm counting anymore, but I've lost, not significant weight, but I've lost some weight and definitely have better gains in terms of composition since I started in January.
Yeah. And that's a good point that you're not even through the program yet. You're halfway, bit over halfway, about to start phase 3. So we haven't even got into the meaty, really long course race nutrition side of things just yet. And you're already like absolutely smacking it. So some of the things that you've been working on are carb loading, your hydration, because it's really hot there where you are. And I love seeing your carb loading plans posted in our secret community group. They're my favorite. And being able to like look at it and be like, oh, you forgot to count the milk carbs there. And you're like, oh yeah, good pickup. Thanks.
Right. Right.
And your pre-race meal and caffeine and kind of just layering in all those different pieces of the puzzle that we need for racing, which set ourselves up for success for phase 3. So what have you been doing in terms of race nutrition that's different compared to what you were doing before as a result of some of the stuff you've learned inside the Academy program?
Yeah, so in terms of race day nutrition, I've definitely changed my morning breakfast and kind of the timing of things in that morning, and even as much as my morning coffee, because we learned so much about caffeine and the importance of the timing of it. So my morning coffee, all that's changed pretty significantly. And then most of my races have been aqua bikes. So focusing mostly on just the bike nutrition. And I've actually switched brands. I'm using all liquid nutrition now, where before I was focusing my nutrition just on the electrolytes and then eating, which I know works really well for some people. And I think that probably the best part of the Academy is that we've learned that just because something works for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for me. And so having all of this kind of knowledge that you've given us to test. I mean, I have plenty of long rides to test all this stuff out. So I have tested a ton of all of these different things. And I mean, at least at this point, I've landed on it. But like you say, it's not set and forget. Like I will be continuing to learn. And as I continue to learn, tweak as I go.
Yeah, amazing. I'm not sure who this is on Facebook, but they've just said, love your chat, ladies. I've heard from so many people that podcast episode was one of their all-time faves, Erin. So thank you for that.
It's fun.
So on the podcast episode, you should definitely go and listen to it if you haven't listened to it yet. Triathlon Nutrition Academy podcast, find it in whatever platform you listen to your podcast. But Erin has a really amazing way of setting herself up for success in racing and the way that she writes her goals. Like her Insta handle is This Girl's Got Goals, which is amazing. Your blog is called that as well. Can you walk me through the different levels of your goal setting and why you do that and how you do that?
Sure. So 3 levels of goals started when I very first started triathlon, because you may remember when you were doing triathlons that when you first start, you get better and better and better. So your goal is always to be faster than the one before. But at some point you kind of plateau and it's no longer a PR. as your goal because you're disappointed all the time. And so pretty quickly I hit that plateau and learned that I didn't want to be disappointed. And a friend of mine introduced me to this 3-goal system that we call the big goal, your rock star goal. So that's your PR, that's whatever is going to make you feel like a rock star on the day. And then kind of the other end of that, she would always call it the better do goal. I started calling it the happy goal because when I cross the finish line, that is my biggest emotion is happy. And I want a goal to match that. So for Ironman and even sometimes half Ironman, my happy goal is just to cross the finish line. Sometimes I'll say cross the finish line with a smile because obviously that shows I'm happy. This time I have done some different things, even adding nutrition into that happy goal. Like my happy goal is I'm going to cross the finish line, having stuck to my nutrition plan, things like that.
Yeah.
And then I do put a goal in between the two that kind of just keeps me from being a slacker, because you can look at your watch and see that there's no way you're getting that PR. And so how easy would it be to be like, fine, I know I'm going to finish and walk the rest of the day out. So I have that middle goal, which I call my super happy goal, because I'll be super happy if I hit it. And that one, usually it's not exactly halfway between. It is usually a little closer to the rockstar goal, but that's my keep me honest goal.
Yeah, I love that system because I would definitely do this as well. Like I have this goal in mind and there's only one of them. And then when you don't hit it, you're actually really disappointed from your race performance when really you've turned up uninjured, you finished crossed the finish line in one piece. You were doing better than 99 point something% of the population, but you're still disappointed in yourself. So I love the 3-tier system because no matter what happens, you're going to feel good and feel like you've achieved something, which a lot of triathletes don't. We do so much training and we spend so much time and money on triathlon as like one of the most expensive hobbies in the world, maybe behind car racing and golf. And then to not have a good time racing, it makes no sense. So I think everyone can borrow some sort of structure around that from Erin to make sure you have a good day out. And I love the just cross the finish line with a smile, because we're not all wanting to get on the podium, even though that's all you do these days. But not everyone's goal is to hit the podium. It's just to finish, just to complete the damn thing. But having a smile on your face is great because it means that you've actually had a good time doing it. And also your race nutrition doesn't suck if you can do that.
Right. Yeah. Adding the nutrition bit into it for Eagleman was a big deal to me because you saw I wrote out a very long carb loading plan. It was very detailed. So honestly, it kind of started me driving down to the race and sticking to that plan and packing my cooler to make sure that I could stick very closely to my plan. So that was all incorporated into that happy goal. And I did that. And I got my rockstar goal too.
Yeah. Tell us about Eagleman 70.3. So you told me something just before we went online that I would love for you to share if you can.
Yeah, of course. So I have been somebody in the past who has, so Eagleman was my 13th 70.3, and I've done 2 full Ironman. So tapering and training and all of that is not new to me. And tapering into previous races, I've always kind of got I call it the taper cold, the sniffles, maybe even some heavy breathing. I wouldn't say sick per se, but definitely would feel kind of cruddy is a better way to say it. And I hadn't really even noticed until after the race. My husband and I were talking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, I never got sick. I never had my sniffles or anything. And I mean, obviously I had been sticking to better eating and nutrition overall, because now instead of treating my everyday diet separate from my triathlon diet, because I'm doing triathlon every day, why am I not considering it in my nutrition plan? I just never got sick this time. So I was able to actually train better throughout that week. I mean, still tapered, of course, but able to be in previous races.
Yeah. That's amazing, because you actually turn up to the start line feeling comfortable and confident in your plan and raring to go, instead of going, oh, I feel absolutely wrecked. Let's just get this thing done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And big part of that will just be eating better on a day-to-day basis for sure. And then you lead into, because you're not in a hole, like you're not in any element of low energy availability through your training block.
Yeah. Well, and even with considering that Eagle Man was just 2 weeks after a 7 week straight of racing every weekend. And I still didn't get sick in that time. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously all the pieces are coming together really, really well.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Feels good.
I love it. Erin actually sacked her coach because her coach was like, Erin, you race too much. And she's like, whatever.
I love to race. I need to be on race day.
It's so good. So Erin is, about to start phase 3 of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, which we do have doors open for at the moment. They're open this week and this week only until next year, actually. It's the last time we're going to open for 2023. So if it's something that you have been looking at or thinking about, this is your gentle kick in the butt to do something about it, because there's no like sneaky way in. Once we close doors on the weekend, that's it. It's all over Red Rover until January 24. So dietitianapproved.com/academy if you want to get amongst it and come and feel some of the performance gains that Erin has felt through her only like halfway through the program phase. I'm so excited to see where you go after finishing phase 3 as well. So dietitianapproved.com/academy. Where are you off to next, Erin? What's the grand plans for the next sort of 6 to 12 months for you?
So next up is Triathlon Nationals here in the US. I'm racing the Olympic on Saturday and the sprint on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I head to Spain for Aquabike Worlds in September, and then another half in October, and then long course
loves to race.
Loves to race. Long course Aquabike Nationals in December. So that finishes me out through the year. I wanted to say too, I actually listened to one of these lives last year around this time and didn't jump on. And so then I had to wait all the way till January. And so I just keep thinking that had I jumped on now, that my early race, because I remember I started the year with a 70.3 in April, maybe it could have been like Eagle Man, right? So yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, don't do like I did and wait till January, because if you're in the US, then you're doing you're doing it through your race season, especially. So it's nice. It would have been nice to get more of it done before the race season.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because a lot of people, I think, they just don't have time for it. It is an investment, they're like, I'll put that off for later. Like, I've got this big expense coming up. But everyone in the program, there's not like one person that doesn't regret not doing it earlier. And your off season it's like abs are made in the off season, right? Or abs are made in the winter. That type of feeling or thought that you need to do it earlier rather than later to set yourself up for success. So if you're right in the middle of race season now, then that's perfect to set you up for next season, because it's not something that changes overnight. Like, it's not a pill that I can be like, here, eat this, go eat this, and then like your nutrition is fixed. I'd love that to be the case. That'd be great. I'd be like a millionaire. Multi-millionaire. But you do need to actually, like Erin, change some habits, change even some mindset around what you do in that recovery window to feel the benefit of that. And then it's like compound interest that just compounds over the time. So the more you do it, the better it feels and the better you get at it as well. So definitely worth doing earlier rather than later, because I can't help you with Ironman distance race nutrition with 6 weeks to go. It's too late. So many things you got to do, so many things you got to practice, which you've been really good at doing. But, you've had all of the sessions and the races to practice in, like, they're not A races for you. So it's not been a bad thing.
No, but it would have been fun to do it sooner.
Yeah. Well,
maybe 11 years ago would have been good.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Like, people are like, I'm not good enough yet to do that. Or I'm just a competitor. I'm not out there competing like someone like Erin, who's actually lands on the podium. But the earlier you do it, the better, because it's that compounding interest, but it's also, you can get yourself into a pretty bad hole when you don't have your nutrition right. Low energy ability is a big one. Getting injured and getting sick all the time. And it's not until people have like that huge, big warning sign, like a stress fracture, that they're like, oh, shit, I need to work on my nutrition now. But really, it was everything that you did in the lead up that could have prevented that in the first place.
Yeah, for sure.
So big next 12 months ahead, and, you know, whispers that you're coming to Australia in about a year's time as well, which will be exciting.
As long as all goes well in December.
we can get a photo like together in the flesh instead of all this screen time.
Yes, I'm 6 foot tall. So are we close? I feel like you're tall.
I'm not 6 foot. I'm like 5'6".
You're only 5'6". You look so tall.
Yes, that's like goals in life. But you also look like 25 on Zoom also.
Close. Almost times 2.
Yeah, I know. Zoom filters, man, they do a good job. They make me look tall. They make you look younger.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So for anyone sitting on the fence, Erin, what advice do you have for them about joining the academy this round, not January 2024?
Yeah. Honestly, the sooner you start, the sooner you can start feeling the benefits of it, because it isn't an overnight thing. There is lots of things that require consistency, and it builds. So yeah, between consistency and the compound effect, the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to feel better. And it is an investment, of course, but if you haven't listened to the last podcast, I believe it's 101, where they talk about how they saved all this money. I'm actually afraid to do the math. I see my husband's watching now, because I don't want him to know how much I used to spend on all those supplements and 1%er things that I was buying.
Is that who Erin Byrge 02 is on Instagram?
That is the one.
I think he's
not
gone.
Buying any supplements, honey.
Nothing. You see nothing. You see nothing.
No new bikes, no supplements. None of that's happening.
He's gone now, but he might actually be on Facebook. I can't see who's watching on Facebook. But can you do the math for me? Like, you don't have to share it. You could lock it down into a Google Sheet or something. But like, Kelly is saving a minimum of $550 US dollars a month. Plus he's got another thing that he's going to drop out. So it's actually more like $1,000 US a month that he's going to save, which is just like, when he told me, like, he told me live on the podcast, I was like, what?
That's insane. My mouth literally fell
money.
Open when he said that. It's like, I do not believe mine's that much, but I mean, I haven't added it up. We'll see.
But do the maths for me, because I'm actually, you know how on like weight loss programs, they've got a countdown timer for how much kilos people have lost and all that sort of stuff. I really I don't think weight equals performance, but I would love to put a number figure on the academy page to be like, this is how much money our athletes are saving by doing the program, because you're not wasting money on supplements and sports foods that you just don't need or aren't even effective. I would love to have that data, because like Chris and Kelly are not the only ones. No. But it's just that Kelly's number was so mind-blowingly high that I was gobsmacked. You can watch my reaction on the podcast on YouTube, because I was just like, what?
Yeah, his return on investment was fast.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm a huge believer in that. Like, I am quite frugal, like, as a human. Like, I grew up with a single mom and raising 4 kids, and so I'm very good at saving and not spending money on useless shit. But triathlon is so heavily marketed to in that space, and you just feel like you're going to miss out. Like, if I don't do this thing, everyone else is going to be better than me, and I'm going to miss that competitive edge. So it's really challenging when you're thrown that stuff down your throat all the time. But I love to teach you to be, I guess, a bit of a detective and read food labels and understand what's in stuff and know how to decide if it's going to be good or not, or if it's a complete load of marketing BS.
Right. Yep. And I definitely feel more empowered to make those decisions, even after just the first 2 phases. So I haven't even gotten into the good stuff yet.
It's all good. It's all good.
That's true. That's true. But the 1%er stuff.
Yeah. It's just that the foundations that I teach triathletes really systematically to build their nutrition up from a solid base of a pyramid all the way up to the top. It's that they're not so sexy, right? Like fruits and vegetables, not so sexy, but the supplements in the 1%ers at the top are like, yeah, I really want to know about that because that's sexy. But you still need to do the work in the beginning for those sprinkles on the icing on the cake to have something to stick to. Otherwise, they're a complete waste of money. There's nothing for them to have impact on if you haven't got the fundamentals right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was taking all the supplements and I'm feeling much better now that I've got the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Well, do supplements.
Do some maths for me. I would, love to know, and just, I don't know, lock it down so that your husband doesn't see how much you were spending. But
maybe I should show him so he can see how much I'm saving now.
Yeah, exactly. So good. Well, thank you so much for jumping on live with me, Erin. Like, we are rolling Facebook and Instagram for the first time ever. So big tick for add that to your CV. You've killed it on the technology. Thank you so much. If anybody does have any questions for Erin, she is This Girl's Got Goals, but you've got to put an underscore underneath each of those on Insta. Is that right?
I think it's period. This period, girls period. Yeah, I think it's periods in between.
Oh, yeah, it is periods. This Girl's Got Goals with a dot in between each of those words. You will be able to find her all over the shop. But, yeah, she's a really good cheerleader that you want on your team if you are a triathlete as well. And she's got a really cool, what do you call it, avatar? Your avatar is pretty cool. It really looks like you.
My daughter helped me make it. She's an artist.
Yeah, it is awesome. It looks exactly like you. But famous last words, Erin. One-liner. What would you say? Join the academy, yes or no?
Yes, join the academy and chase your goals.
Yeah. You utilize Erin's 3-tier structure. I really love that. And I think a lot of people can walk away from that, even just not in triathlon, but just in life. Setting yourself up for success, not failure, which we're really good at doing, is setting ourselves up for disappointment as a triathlete. Yep. Overachievers, type A personality, just want to, bars always high. Yeah. So dietitianapproved.com/academy if you want to come and join us. Have Erin part of your cheerleader team, but also reap the rewards of the right nutrition with getting all of those foundations in place as well. We are open now, but doors do close on the weekend, and you don't want to be disappointed like Erin was and have to wait to January, because there's no sneaky side door in. Like, this is it. Once they close, we literally lock them down, and every time I do that, I get emails saying, well, I missed it. I'm like, sorry, it's too late, because we do get started straight away. You actually have access to the program a day before we close so that you can get started learning ASAP. And then we're on live that week for power hour sessions where you get me live to pick my brain as well. So that's why it's like locked down and then we're away. So I can concentrate on you guys, make sure you're kicking all your goals and you're not struggling with anything.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Erin. I will see you online this week. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, popping the going live on Facebook and Instagram cherry.
Thanks for chatting with me. Talk to you soon.
See you. Bye.
Bye.